Hello. How should I say this? Okay, here we go. Salut. Comment ça va? Bien, ma chérie. Or should I say salut? Comment tu vas, chérie? Or bonjour. Comment vas-tu, chérie? Bonsoir. Okay, I am learning French, and what I just said was, hi, how are you, my darling, ma chérie? I hope I didn't sound corny just now, but yeah, I just said, how are you doing, my darling, in French, and I also said, how are you, honey, in French, so I'm still learning, guys, so I'll say it again. I'll just say, bonjour, comment vas-tu, chérie? And je m'appelle Prince Narrator. And bienvenue, that means welcome. I think I said that right, I'm not sure. But bonsoir, which means good evening. And I'm glad you're here. And I hope what I just did just now wasn't too corny. So, but here we go. I'm glad you're here, and I want to welcome you to a part 5 of UAP Witnesses. I hope my French wasn't too bad there, but just wanted to do something new, kind of shake things up a bit. So, but I'm glad you're here, and got some new stories for you. I want to thank. Well, I haven't really been getting any new subscribers, so I want to thank you guys, or my subscribers who's been here and never left. And thank you for tuning in and watching these strange UFO reports that I keep reading to you. And I want to thank my lady love, if she's listening, and a nice little sweet message to her. Love ya. And I also want to thank, I just want to thank all of you for being here and putting up with my voice. And a sweet little love you too, that lady friend. She's probably not even listening, but if she is, that's fine. And so, I'm going to jump into this new first account. And if you're new to this series, please check out the previous episodes. I put the link to them in the description box, so you can check out part 1, 2, 3, and 4 if you want to. You don't have to. None of these stories are really connected, but I feel, it's kind of part of a series, so you might want to hear the stories in the previous episodes as well. So I also created a playlist called ETs and UAP Phenomena, where I put all these videos together, so you can also go to my playlist that I created and check out all the videos. So, but other than that, enough blabbing and speaking to you in French, or attempting to, and I'm going to get right into this first story. Now, this is from a witness account, and this is from a man in Chile, and here's his story and what he witnessed. Are you ready to find out what he saw? Well, here we go. Hello, I am Luis Sanchez Perry. I wish to report that January 1998 was a big month for UFO sightings in Chile. I have interviewed witnesses to obtain the following information. On January 4th, 1998, Pablo Marinan and his family spied a UFO over their hometown of Ango, located 400 kilometers south of Santiago de Chile. The object was 55 degrees above the horizon and southeast of us. Pablo reported the UFO was oval in shape, a very bright light with a dark structure around it. The object was vibrating at arm's length, it was about 2 centimeters, 1 inch long. On January 17th, 1998, at 9:19 p.m., Rodrigo Bravo saw a very bright white gold light come from the south at high speed. It stopped in midair over Santiago, above the Carrillo section, for about 10 seconds. Then it shot back to the south from where it came. On January 24th, 1998, Sergio Raches and 4 friends drove out to Trunk Alfalfalvo Dam in El Cajun del Mapo, about 40 kilometers southwest of Santiago. On their way up the mountain to the dam, they saw 2 balls of light pass over them at a very high speed. After a few seconds, they saw a third one, but it was traveling much slower. Arriving at the dam, Sergio reported that he and his friends left the car and walked to the cliff's edge. From here, they could see the Rio Mapo 100 meters below. Then the witnesses saw a cigar egg-shaped UFO about 18 meters long coming up the river. It was a bright white color. They heard a very high-pitched tone that clogged their ears for a while. As the OVNI flew by, the group found themselves covered by a strange mist, hot and cold at the same time. They hurried back to the car and drove down the mountain. On their way to San Jose de Mapo, they encountered a UFO that was hovering about 800 meters from them. They stopped the car and got out. The UFO looked like the moon, but was slightly smaller and was white-colored. After 5 minutes of observation, the UFO faded away like a cloud or smoke. Well, that's interesting. So what do you guys think that was? That egg shape, huh? I noticed a lot of these UFOs have been either cigar or egg shaped. That was, I think that was the Tic Tac UFO that the Pentagon released with the guys in the Navy at the Nimitz, U.S. Nimitz encounter. They said that UFO was kind of egg shaped or like a Tic Tac. So that's interesting. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. So I know these things come in all different shapes and sizes. So it's hard to tell what they are. But I'm going to get to this next one. And I just want to add one thing. Stick around to the end of the video because I am going to post or share these funny little alien shorts that you might get a good laugh out of. You know, like those little political cartoon ads that you see in like newspapers. Well, these are like alien newspaper comedic shorts. So stick around to the end of the video and you'll see clips of each one. And I'll also post the link to where I got them from. They're pretty funny, so you let me know what you think about them. So I hope you like them. I thought they were hilarious, but you post a comment and let me know if it made you giggle. But please stick around to the end of the video so you can see these little funny shorts. So, but anyway, on to the next story. This one is from women in Bolivia, and here's another witness account. So here we go. I have been wanting to tell people about this experience for 10 years. 10 years ago, this January in 1989, while hiking high on the Altiplano in Bolivia, I witnessed a dazzling display of bright, laser-like lights shooting up at the sky behind a bluff nearly 2 miles away. I was with a group of indigenous Kwachi speaking farmers. When I asked them what it was, they smiled but refused to tell me anything. After insisting that they should tell me what I was seeing, they explained it came from up there, pointing up at the night sky. Military? I asked, knowing that the U.S. were present in Bolivia. The Bolivians shook their heads and just pointed to the sky again. I nervously followed them back to our sleeping quarters. A half-hour hike down the bluff we were standing on in the pitch dark of night. The name of the bluff is Misaquapampa, outside of Cochabamba, Bolivia. Okay, that's interesting. Sounds more like whatever they saw sounds more like spiritual thing than mechanical, so I don't know. What do you think she saw? I don't know. That sounds interesting. Was it an angel or dazzling display of bright laser-like lights? I don't know. Some of these stories they have their own flavor to them, so you let me know what you think about these witness accounts. Some of them are more like a maybe spiritual phenomenon, or others are more, like a mechanical, technological thing. But I don't know. You guys let me know. But on to the next one. Enough blabbing. This one is from a man in Uruguay. Hope I pronounced that right. And here's his account. I am Police Chief Miguel Costa, in charge of the force at Melo, Uruguay. On March 24th, 1981, I was driving with two friends, Armando and Maria Peca, along a gravel road near Tacacarumbo when a huge oval disc loomed out of the early morning darkness. It was enormous and gleaming with yellow and orange lights. I stopped the car and purely on impulse flashed the headlights. All of a sudden, the UFO appeared to hesitate and zigzag up and back as if answering our call. When I started up again, it was following us. Again, stopped the car and flashed my lights. Again, the UFO appeared to waver in reply. We drove on once more along the twisting road, and the UFO stayed with us, always about a half kilometer away. This went on for almost 50 kilometers. That's when the strangest thing of all occurred. We were all glued to the windows, watching as the disc suddenly shot towards the ground as if it was going to crash. It stopped 50 to 100 meters from the earth, and we could clearly see its round, dome-like shape with a large flat plate underneath. There was a slight ring of cloud around the dome. The top was reddish, but the bottom was a brilliant, glowing white. Inexplicably, this new position of the UFO made us all uneasy. So we turned around and headed back to Tacacarumbo, the nearest town. The blazing lights of the UFO remained at a constant distance behind us. I pulled in under some trees, hoping to evade it. We then observed a second disc, traveling some distance behind the first. They never touched, but they seemed to be traveling together. They seemed to maneuver up and down until clouds started to form. They then passed over the top of the clouds and lit them up like a halo. Then they faded, getting smaller and smaller until they disappeared at dawn. They had been with us for 90 minutes, We were all speechless as we could not believe what we had witnessed. I myself have never believed in UFOs, but I do know that this incident revealed something rare and inexplicable. Now that sounded like fun. Man, I would have liked to be in the car with him when that happened, huh? Nah, maybe not. Wow. So what do you guys think about that one? No, that sounds weird. You think they might have been top secret military aircraft that the military was testing, or was it little green men from outer space? I don't know. I'm just acting silly tonight. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. So about some of these stories. What do you think they are? But here's another one. Now this is from a man in Guatemala, and here's his witness account. It was December 1st, 1999, when me and a couple of dozen people were witnesses to an incredible spectacle in the surroundings of the temple of the bi-headed serpent at Takao. It was 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was in the fourth temple with about 12 people, while the others were in the park nearby. Suddenly, the sky lightened up completely when we saw a bright sphere bigger than the moon and totally white. It crossed the sky from one side to the other and disappeared all of a sudden, leaving a long trace behind itself, a luminous trail in the sky, which we could see for about 3 minutes. Some of us even managed to take photos. Now that sounds weird. So, let's see, a sphere shape, yeah. A lot of these craft have sphere shapes too, so I don't know. I do know this, that I know the spirits can take on different forms, and they can also manipulate matter, so maybe some of these unidentified aerial phenomena might be spirits, so, and then others might be, I don't know, alien craft, or maybe either top secret craft that the military is using. So it can only be like either one of those three things. I mean, that's my guess, but you let me know what you think. So now the next witness account, this one takes place in the United Kingdom, and this is from a woman. Here's her story. I live in Bampton, West Swindon, Wiltshire. I reported the following incident at 8:30 p.m. on October 25th, 1995. It was witnessed also by my mother, who was staying the night with me. Neither of us had been drinking or was under the influence of medication. At 7:45, I was outside bringing in the washing off the clothesline when I observed a single bright light hovering in the far distance. At first, I thought it to be a bright star. However, whilst watching the star, it suddenly moved quickly in a westerly direction, and the opposite side to the direction appeared to have a red glow. At first, I thought it was a local police helicopter, which often transits along the M4, which is not too far away. Whilst trying to make out the shape of the object, it rapidly changed direction again, flying extremely fast to the east. It was at this point I called for my mother to come outside and to witness what was happening. When I returned outside, the object was still in the same location on the horizon to the northwest of my home. With both of us watching, it then sped to due west before flying to the south, passing above my home. Whilst at that location, it appeared to split into two separate sources of white light. The two lights then suddenly accelerated to the west before disappearing over the horizon. Again, red light was visible from the trailing side of the objects. The weather on the night in question was relatively clear with only light cloud. I reported the incident to the police, who then called RAF Lindheim and was told nothing at all was visible on their radar reports. Ooh, wow. So, what was that about, huh? Well, we do know this, it definitely wasn't a shooting star because it seemed like it was under intelligent control, so that's weird. But, you let me know what you think. But, here's another one, and this one is also from the United Kingdom, and the witness is an older man. I noticed that a lot of these witnesses, they're keeping their name out of the story because I kind of understand sometimes when you say that you've seen an unidentified craft in the sky, people sometimes ridicule you, so you prefer to keep your identity concealed or remain anonymous. So I understand by some of these stories I've been reading, the witness keeps their name out of the story, so because, some people are going to make fun of you, or they're not going to believe that you've seen something until they've seen something themselves. So, but anyway, here's this older man's account from the United Kingdom, and here's what he experienced. When I was young, I had some very strange experiences which affected my entire life. This was in the 1930s. In 1935, I had pneumonia, which in those days was a dangerous and sometimes fatal disease. One evening, right at dark, two beings came to the window in an elongated envelope. They and their conveyance were like the northern lights. They asked me to go with them, and each took a hand. When they touched me, it was like being lightly tickled, very pleasurable. The odd part was that you could see through them, but they were there, and we talked without sound. They took me to a huge pavilion where couples were dancing. My impression was that the males were dressed in black with white trim. The females were dressed the opposite way. There was no ceiling, but crystals hung above and made music beyond comparison that sounded to me like wind chimes. I had 3 visits to this place in all. On the last visit, a female asked me why I was afraid of the dark. She said to me that both the light and the dark are my benefactors, and they would make them equal. She took a crystal and placed it in the palm of my left hand. For a moment, it resembled the Star of David, 2 triangles. Then it melted and ran between my fingers. After that, my night vision changed. My eyes would adjust quickly so that I could see even when it was pitch black. I recovered quickly from my illness. A few months later, on a camping trip, I found I was the only one awake late at night, watching undulated shafts of bright light. The shafts of light began a strange, seemingly patterned movement. I was trying to puzzle this out when suddenly there appeared my transparent envelope in what looked like an oval cylinder. It just seemed correct to get in. In an instant, I was inside the pavilion again, but the beings were not dancing as before. They seemed to be conversing silently, but not with me. A female asked me to step up on the dais because I was their conductor. What the wow? What in the world? Well, I have heard some wild stories like that too. I guess you can call that kind of like a masseuse abduction, seemed pretty pleasurable. They weren't trying to stick rods in certain places. So, okay, they seem like the nice abductors, I guess. And yeah, that was a weird account, though. I don't know. Did he get taken by angels, or was this something else? I don't know. You be the judge on that one. But that was kind of crazy. A pavilion, huh? Some kind of alien dance hall. Okay, well, here's the next one. And this is from a man who's also anonymous, and this is in the United Kingdom. And here's his account. I am a graphic designer with a good visual memory. What I saw was visually very vivid, but it doesn't make much sense. However, it may have been the most important thing that ever happened to me. In November 1980, my wife and I were driving north of Dundee when I suddenly saw a cerulean blue light pointing at our car from the sky. After that, I have a fragmented memory. We both have a fragmented memory of some bizarre events, but there are a lot of gaps. Basically, we somehow lost about an hours of time. I remember seeing a hairless, tall, man-like being in a blue robe. He was looking at us, inviting us aboard his craft telepathically. His costume struck me as absurd. He was the leader in a blue cape. The cape looked stupid, illogical. He was mentally luring us up to a spacecraft. Somehow, the next thing was we were board a ship of some kind, being examined quite painlessly by another being wearing a yellow robe with a ruffled collar, also somehow completely absurd, incongruous. Suddenly, the examination process turned nasty. I felt my mind was being forcibly invaded. I had no control. My brain felt like there was a tunnel that goes through my mind to theirs. Our minds are connected. It could have been a tube or a tunnel of light, gray-brown. It was horrible. It pulled everything out of my head. There was a terrible sound, piercing, high-pitched. My thoughts had turned to goo, but I could see them visually. They had my mind, but I still had it too. Then it seemed as though I was okay again, but I felt completely different mentally. I can't explain this, but there's more to it than anyone knows. There's more to life, more to the world. There's more to everything than anybody knows. More dimensions, things coexisting. There are many more than 3 dimensions. Everywhere, it all works together. Everything coexists. I still can't explain all these thoughts, where they came from, and so on. Well, you tell me, are these stories getting wilder and wilder for y'all? I know they are. Now that one sounds, oh my God. This one sounds menacing. Now this one reminds me of the Betty and Barney Hill abduction. I don't know if any of you guys heard of that one. That was about this couple, this interracial couple, matter of fact. They were driving, and Barney's wife, Betty, she saw this craft that was like hovering over the car at night, and all of a sudden it just came down out of the sky and like stopped in midair right in front of their car. And they got out and saw this tall being, and this like blonde and blue-eyed with this long blue robe, and these little gray like helper creatures were around it, and they brought them onto the ship, and then they don't remember anything. And the next thing, they were back in their car miles away, and like hours of time were like gone. So you should look that story up. It's pretty interesting because under hypnosis, both Betty and Barney Hill could recollect what had happened to them on this craft they were taking aboard. And then Betty drew this star system called the Zeta Reticuli, and she drew a pretty accurate illustration of the star system under hypnosis. So it kind of begs the question, did they really get abducted, this couple? Weird. But this story kind of this witness account kind of reminds me of Betty and Barney Hill. So you guys let me know what you think about that one. That one's really weird and a bit creepy. But I got another one for you. And this one is also from the United Kingdom, from a woman. And she gives her name. So hopefully no one made fun of her. So here's her account. My name is Hilda Owen, housewife. My husband is a policeman. On the evening of February 12, 1977, I was looking out of my kitchen window when I saw a cigar-shaped object with a dome top that appeared to be drifting silently in and out of the clouds. I drew it in lipstick on the window pane. It was a very extraordinary sight and difficult to explain. The UFO seemed to appear out of a tongue of flame over Aberfraw Common. At first, I thought an aircraft was on fire, but within seconds, the flame appeared to form a circle and the dome shape appeared within it. There was no mistaking the shape. It was a craft of some kind because I could clearly see portholes. It was the color of the setting sun and about twice the size of the sun as we see it. The shape was still in the sky when my husband arrived home just after midnight, but when we went to fetch his binoculars, it just vanished. Well, I don't know. Well, that's it for now. But I'll be back with episode 6 next week. So you guys let me know what you thought about these stories. I know they're out there. I know they're getting tripped out. So you let me know. And please don't be afraid to drop a comment. Let me know if you've seen something strange. So, but I hope you enjoyed tonight's stories. And I want to give a shout out to my lady friend. Love you. And I hope you're enjoying the stories. And I want to give a shout out to all my subscribers. I want to thank you for listening and putting up with my voice and putting up with my bad French. Hope you enjoyed it. So, and to my lady love and to my subscribers, I appreciate all of you. And I hope you check out the previous videos of this whole series and check those out as well. And stay till the end. I don't know if it's showing up yet, but if you see the shorts, hope you get a good laugh out of them. So they're like comic shorts, alien shorts. So I hope you like them. So once again, I know I'm repeating myself. I don't mean to sound redundant. To my lady love, I love you. And to all my subscribers, thank you for listening and bearing with me. And I would like to say bonne nuit, which means good night. And once again, bonjour, comment vas-tu, Marie? Or should I say mon amour? And je m'appelle Prince Narrator, which is I am your Prince Narrator. And I hope you enjoy tonight's stories. And until you hear my voice again, good night, my darlings. And I know some of you have probably got annoyed already with my bad French, but some of you might have liked it. I hope most of you liked it. So, okay, enough. I'll see you next week.